Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check these headlines. $170 million worth of XRP. Where's that going? We're going to tell you. More trouble in ETHgate. And I tell you, it just keeps getting bigger when you don't have the truth on your side. And you're going to see a lot of evidence of that today. And here we know that large banks begin to launch crypto services. This has been a long time coming, and it's only going to continue to get bigger and bigger around the world. And guess what else we got? Swift, ISO 2022, go live dates. We got them. Big bang cutover, rollout phases. We're going to have them tell you. You don't need me to tell you. She's going to tell you. And it's all exciting. Let's roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow me on Twitter at @BackupBradleyAbove, and everything that we're talking about here today. It's $2.2 trillion market cap. We're off by 0.72%. Bitcoin, $46,200. The whole market is bleeding this morning. 3,700 plus for Ethereum. Solana coming in at $168.45. Cardano is $1.33. XRP is 0.8257 cents. It's January 5th, everybody, 2022. Price range right now, 0.8198, 0.8457 on the top. We'll keep an eye on it. Market is bleeding this morning. We see right now PureVPN is what the numbers are brought to you by. We know that if you sign up, you can have all the protection you're looking for, leave no digital trace of your identity online, dedicated IP to avoid getting banned from exchanges here, it says, and 5-year deal, 88% off. What are we talking about? It's a deal, and it's a great deal. Go to the description box or the comment section under any of my videos and check out all the links as well as the PureVPN link right here. Just click it and get the deal. There it is. Look right here, ladies and gentlemen, $170 million worth of XRP wired by Ripple and world's largest exchange. The details are really, what you need to know is Ripple, along with Binance, have shoveled 200 million XRP tokens worth nearly $170 million. And you just have to say to yourself, I'm certainly a glass half full. You guys know that if you've been following the channel for any length of time. At some point, I see a relist happening here. And I tell you, let's understand this too. Because we're talking 4 to 5 months long term, this case is over. That's what the legal analysts are telling us, and I couldn't be more excited. Nick could settle at any time. This is another token I'm excited about, as you all know, which is XDC. It's a part of the ISO 20022 family, and we know that XDC now, as according to Don XDC, there's a price chart for XDC on Binance website. Probably nothing. I get my XDC on BitTrue, not financial advice, just my digital perspectives, but the lean here is that we could be about to see a listing of XDC there. Now that would be exciting. Let's talk about this, ladies and gentlemen, because look, ETHgate is a problem, right? Whether we're looking at the, conflict of interest on the SEC side, or whether we're looking at the Ethereum Founder Alliance Foundation side, where we understand that there has been no public audit of that foundation, and you have to understand, why is that? Why has the SEC not come in and some other agency collectively come in and force them to do a public audit? The reality is the SEC has backed away very much from William Hinman's speech, although since he gave it in 2018, we know that they really leaned in heavily over the years and cited it as guidance. Yes, unofficial but official guidance, right? It's always been cited. But of late, the SEC collectively has said, oh, no digital asset has received any clarity from us. So there is a problem there. There is obviously something that is not lining up. And here is another couple clips from Vinay Gupta, early investor in Ethereum. And he's going to lay it down for you and tell you about this circus that we'd spun up and how bad of an idea it was and just how open their conversations were about obfuscating the U.S. regulators, especially the SEC. Gary Gensler, where you at, man? Listen to this.
Right? I did ICO advisory for one company, and I was a legal director of that company. I have friends that must have done advisory for 50 companies and taken a rake off every single ICO that happened. How is anybody going to tell the truth in that environment? Right? How can you trust what anybody says when all they have to do to make a buck is make a magic number go up by convincing an idiot that that magic number will go up more in future? How the hell are we ever going to get anything done? And, if that money had gone into people writing code, then we would have vast amounts of code written in the crypto space, right? We would have libraries to connect to every system in the world. We'd have all this IoT stuff worked out. We'd have, the ability to run SQL-style database queries over the blockchain as a whole and inject it into smart contracts as oracles. We'd have gotten rid of the awfulness, which is Solidity, and replaced it with a language which was much less bug-prone. You could just tick off all the things that money should have achieved in the world, and what it actually achieved was Lambos.
Lambos.
Right? What was the point of the Lamboocracy? What exactly did they put back into the ecosystem? Right? And the answer is not a goddamn thing. Right? I live in a 3-bedroom apartment in North London with 2 roommates. Right? I live like an engineer. I did not cash out millions of dollars from Ethereum because I didn't think that we had done millions of dollars worth of work. And when we hit the DAO crisis, I'm just like, okay, I don't even know what this product is anymore. I'm not doing this because I do not know the legal status of the token that I'm holding. And I just cleaned out at that point and I've never gone back in. And this is one of the reasons that I am cruelly objective about the prospects of the technology, is because I don't personally benefit from number goes up. Right? My wealth is held in equity inside of my own company, and if we produce valuable goods and services, the number goes up. But I'm operating inside of the dry, hard, cold legal world, largely because I did not want to be associated with this enormous goddamn circus that we spun up.
Oh my goodness. I mean, this is the kind of candid conversations that were happening, understanding what the conversations were with the founders and the foundation, knowing what they were doing. Listen to this clip.
And frankly, if I'd understood how little enforcement there was going to be from the SEC and the degree to which we would have been on our own, I would have opened my mouth in a much louder fashion much earlier about what was happening. Right? I assumed government was going to come along and punish the evildoers in this field, and in fact, nobody has punished the evildoers. The evildoers have cashed out at the bank, and what they've destroyed in the process is the reputation of Ethereum as a credible technology for building the future. And I am not right pleased about that. Right? If the foundation was for anything, the foundation was for beating these people with shovels. Hey guys, that's securities fraud. You really shouldn't be doing it on our platform. We kind of have a policy, and we're not going to invite you guys to speak at any of our conferences if you'd ICO. That would have sent the necessary warning. But think of the level of spine, discipline, and backbone that it would have taken to say, this is against the law, and we're not going to encourage it. Right? Or the converse case, we think the law is behind the times, and we're fully mandating. Instead, the kind of political tier of the Ethereum organization just largely stayed out of that mess. And as a result, we're in a position where we got all the fraud and none of the leadership.
Yeah. I mean, acknowledging securities fraud with the ICOs, right? And then really pointing to the lack of backbone and integrity to turn away from the dollar and profit opportunity of that in order to really push to stay and remain compliant with this new network. Right? I mean, it doesn't get more honest than that. That is the problem. And the problem really comes back to the SEC. But you know what? It doesn't stop there, because now we have Kavita Gupta, and she used to be with Consensus. Shout out to DAI for this from CoinDesk here. And Kavita is really taking a stance here that's saying there should not be a monopoly for one. And she understands it because she came from Consensus behind Ethereum.
Going back to your multi-chain, I think when I started my journey into the space, it was initially Bitcoin, and then it was all about Ethereum. But I feel like today in the world, we have so many chains out there, and there should not be a monopoly for one. Even layer 2 are extremely helpful when you have like you want to do NFT, you want to do DeFi, you want to do options, you need to use a lower gas fee alternative. And that
lower gas fee ultimately, right? Yeah, I agree, Kavita. You really say it. Not a monopoly for one, but she's finding out they can't solve the gas fee problem, which is currently ringing in at about $11.25, unless you're unlucky like XRP Vampire, who wanted to be, the Ethereum network wanted to charge him $683, and he could try again for his $20 transaction. How about that for the fourth industrial revolution? Web3, everybody. A complete failure. Even with the conflict of interest and the appearance of corruption, they can't get the job done. Pathetic. Thankfully, there are technologies out here that have taken the long road and played long ball and have worked with the agencies and governments around the world like Ripple, XRP, and I believe you will see them rise like a rising phoenix up out of the ashes. That's what this case is all about to me. It's getting that legal precedent. And in that time, we're watching all of this happen. We're seeing large banks are beginning to start launching crypto trading services in response to digital asset boom. Now, we're going to see two sides of all of this happening today. You're going to see what you're seeing here, which is consumer retail offering by the banks to the consumer retail side, right? Very, very exciting, especially for the banks, because they have been getting their fanny handed to them over the last 12 years, watching all of their customers go to crypto exchanges to get these things. It starts right here with the Commonwealth Bank of Australia, says it's first in the nation to allow customers to buy, sell, and hold crypto assets. Congratulations, Australia. A pilot program offering crypto directly to customers through the bank's primary app is about to roll out. It's part of a new partnership with crypto exchange Gemini, blockchain analytics firm Chainalysis, which, by the way, also uses the XRP ledger as well as a part of its service. Meanwhile, Group Saving Bank in Germany is reportedly testing trading network that would allow 50 million customers to buy and sell Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other crypto assets. In addition, Swiss subsidiary BBVA now offers digital accounts to its customers to let them trade BTC and ETH. And the U.S. financial giant Bank of Mellon, we reported the other day, and Fidelity are offering crypto service to its largest institutional clients. Mainstream banks in the U.S. remain the slowest to bring crypto assets to retail customers, but that may also begin to change this year. We know the conversations with the FDIC and other agencies have really opened up to that idea and notion, whether it be stable coins or crypto. And we certainly understand the issuances that Brian Brooks had put out when he was the OCC chair. Right here is the backside of how crypto adoption takes place, and it's with SWIFT. And it's right here in this conversation I'm going to lay out to you, and she's going to start talking in this first shot here about decommissioning the MT 1, 2, and 9 payment language, and it will be completely decommissioned by 2025. Now, make no mistake about it, some of these companies and banks and institutions will be able to do a rollout and phase it in, and some of these will be doing a big bang cutover. As we listen to this information, remember what Brad Garlinghouse told us about cross-border payments and correspondent banking, right? He told us that really there's a small few, it's actually a small group of large banks that sit at the top of the food chain when it comes to these cross-border payments. More than likely, my thought is that that means those large banks that sit in a small group at the top of this cross-border world will probably do the big bang cutover, right? But the other institutions that connect into the cross-border system will probably choose to roll out and phase into these things as they need, right? And that's how I'm seeing that so far. But let's start right here and listen to what she has to say here. And she's from SWIFT. I forgot her name, excuse me, but she's really smart. You're going to enjoy it. Here it is.
So as a refresher, Cross-border payment empty messages, categories 1, 2, and 9s are being decommissioned as of November 2025. If you remember, it was in Sibos 2018 in Sydney where SWIFT originally announced that we were going to move to ISO 20022 with cross-border payments in November of this year, and then we were going to have a 4-year coexistence period. The community came back and said, hey, that's a lot of change for us to consume right now. Can we delay? And then, of course, we hit COVID, and it just ended up being a further delay. So SWIFT responded back in April of last year with a revised approach and timeline and a new strategy that has been approved by our board in November 2020.
Now, let me take you to that, now that you know that that's happened, right? And obviously, everybody's been jammed up with the whole pandemic. Keep listening.
Moving to transaction management and orchestration.
Listen very carefully to these categories, just very quickly. Upstream disintermediation, right? New trade, FX, and security solutions, managing transactions in new ways, absorbing payment and settlement as a side effect. Stronger competition out here, right? And then also right here, you see rapid adoption of new tech, enabling customers' experience improvements in new businesses, operating models, widespread innovation, and distribution. Listen to how she breaks it down.
So why did we think we needed to change our strategy? What was going on in the industry? And it's really these 5 themes that you see on this slide. The first one being upstream disruption. It's caused by new platforms or other services trying to address friction in transactions. And if they're successful, will change how SWIFT transactions get generated.
RippleNet XRP Ledger. Just a thought.
Most importantly, we see direct competition. Clients' needs are changing, and there's little tolerance for friction or unpredictability. Fintechs and other disruptors fill that particularly need in the front end by a greater user experience. Compliance continues to occupy resource and senior management attention. Mandatory changes, also driven by regulators and MIs and SWIFT, translates to more time and resources and costs for banks. Finally, new tech. Being rapidly adopted, particularly by new entrants. It can lead to widespread disruption, but also brings opportunity to do things differently.
I mean, she's telling you the adoption of new tech right there, right? There you go. And there you have it. Now let's move up to here. Shout out to Rod Hop for this this video that he sent here. It is straight fire, by the way. And I want to take you now to, let me pull up these diagrams so you can see this. Check this out. Okay, right here you can see payments market infrastructure's adoption of ISO 20022. It's showing EMEA and then AMUK here in those regions. And you look right here, the blue is community testing and the gray is live. And you see by 2022 Q4, they have here the Euro 1 Target 2 and RO Transpond live is where they project to be at the end of this year, right? Estonia as well, Bulgarian, and Mozambique looking like Q2, actually. And we see some of these other systems, which right here are still in the community testing phase, which it goes into the end of this year, and some of which have done that at the middle or end of last year. This is exciting stuff to me, ladies and gentlemen. We are seeing it right here before our eyes. They're giving us the real deal here. Now, let's take a look at this one, because this one even has here some more information here, and it's the APAC region, right? And it shows us here that we see testing has been done in some of last year, Q4, in the Q1 of this year in quite a few places here. We also see that the go live is scheduled here for some in Thai-bot, looks like maybe Thailand here, and you can see that's Q2 of 2022, and then here also there's one in Q3, there's some in Q4, and some even in 2023. What's interesting here is that you see Big Bang, I believe it is Big Bang cutover is what they're referencing there, because she's going to go on and talk to you in this about some of the entities that will do more of a rollout. Not everyone has to do just one way. And that's very interesting. That's been a point of contention in the community for a while here. Let's listen to what she says now and take you to this time marker at right here at 11 minutes. Take a listen here and listen what she explains.
2022 adoption itself. So again, the community has decided to move to ISO 2022 for cross-border payments, and will make this a reality. The first step is next year in November. There will now be a coexistence period of 3 years until 2025, when those MT categories 1, 2s, and 9s are set to be decommissioned.
So that coexistent period between now, this coming November, and 2025 is the rails, the old rails and the new rails running parallel beside one another, in case there's any problem whatsoever. And we've heard someone tell us that before, and we've reported on it before. Keep listening. We'll get to it.
The goal of ISO 2022 is to achieve end-to-end rich structured data throughout the entire payment chain. There's wide adoption across many of the market infrastructures, whether they're RTGSs, instant payments, or ACH networks.
Wide adoption across the market infrastructures like real-time gross settlement system and other systems, right? And that's important to understand, because what has Ripple been doing all of these years while the price doesn't move? Building the market infrastructure all over the world inside of the financial system. Don't believe it, it's still true. Do they say Ripple XRP? No. Am I speculating? You better believe I am. Not financial advice. Let's pick it up right here. Listen to what she says here. Rollout versus Big Bang cutover.
Talk a little about testing. So there's going to be lots of different ways customers can test on this journey. So during the implementation phase, customers will be working on standards testing. They'll be using the readiness and translation portals I just spoke about to validate the structure of their CBPR Plus ISO messages. This is done standalone. You don't have to be on the Fin Plus service. Customers are also going to be working on their SIT unit and integration testing. During the testing phase, so this is when you're on the Fin Plus service, you can do something called loopback testing. And this is when you actually send a CBPR Plus message to yourself, and then you can watch how you're sending and receiving messages in your own shop. Next, customers are going to validate functional integration by simulating exchanges using the Swift test sparring partner. And this is where the application creates a fictitious counterparty, and you can send messages back and forth. You'll also have a catalog of predefined test cases and test data available with this service. Finally, we suggest customers to validate business and technical interoperability by exchanging real-life traffic with counterparties of your choice. This is what we call community testing. So that's kind of all the things that are going on in the testing phase. Going live. So this doesn't have to be a big bang. We're seeing lots and lots of customers roll ISO 2022 adoption out in waves. They're doing it based on BICs, currencies, traffic patterns, or combination of all three. So lots of different ways that you can think about it, and you should really start to think about it soon in your project planning.
There you have it. Telling you right now, certainly starting, and people have already started. We've seen the diagrams and evidence of that, but also telling people that are listening in this financial world that use the Swift wiring system it started no later than November. You better start picking your path, because you will have from this November of 2022 for the old rails to run parallel to the new rails, because complete in 2025, they will be decommissioning the old rails, which means it is happening. It is happening right now. And at some point, you're going to see the integration and use of digital assets for settlement on these rails. No mistake about it. This is a reminder right here. We're back in 2019 when Victoria Cleland from Bank of England, Ripple partner, told us about the core system with a one-off big bang. Not just her words anymore, ladies and gentlemen. It's a strategy between a phase-in rollout or the Big Bang cutover that is really pitched by Swift themselves, right? In this article, Victoria Cleland told us back in 2019, the executive director of banking and payments and innovation at the Bank of England said, I expect a big bang cutover because what you have with RTGS is a core ledger supporting payments transactions worth hundreds of billions of pounds a day, and we can't have some members on it while others are not. After talks with with the Bank of England internal IT department, it is likely the bank will keep existing systems up and running alongside the new one for a period as a fallback. So if there was any problem, we could recover back to that. She goes on to say about the 2025 deadline and about how banks won't use distributed ledger technology because what they'll do is probably build their own, proprietary platform, and from within that they can connect into something like the XRP ledger. She doesn't say those things. I'm giving you an arbitrary example, which I do believe will be a part of the financial system. Before we leave, I remind you that not only are XLM and XRP in the ISO token family, but they're also members on the standards body committee. This is really exciting, ladies and gentlemen. Swift has just peeled back the hood here and showed us that it is this year to 2025, the new rails are in place and they're running next to the old ones, and the old ones are decommissioned by 2025, which means between now and then, we're watching mass adoption take place. Hit that like and subscribe, leave a comment below, share with somebody you know, hit that notification bell so you don't miss a thing, ladies and gentlemen. Sign up on that mailing list too, by the way. We're going to start sending something out to you and you're going to like it. And make sure also, while you're there, check out all the links in the description and comment section. Great products and services I use each and every day. And they're great deals, but you got to click the links. I'll catch all of you on the next one.